You're listening to the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Now here's your hosts, Kevin, Derek, and Alex.
All right, and welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. I am Derek, and joined as always by your co-host, Kevin. Kevin, how we doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Another Friday night, getting ready to head in here to week number 7. Kicked off with a pretty good football game last night. I think most people, the general population included, thought the Steelers were going to win that game close, even to easily with what we were seeing out of the Bengals, and full week of practice and Joe Flacco showed he still got some left in the tank. And Rodgers, the interceptions, but Rodgers didn't have a bad game himself, but Flacco showed out. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, both were able to eat. So as fantasy owners, you gotta love that, especially the Chase owners. Higgins had kind of been relegated to fringe flex worthy with what we've seen so far, but because of injuries, maybe some bye weeks, maybe you were forced to kind of play him. I had him in a couple leagues in my starting lineup, so I was happy with those results. I was definitely happy with getting everything out of Jamar Chase. So started out the right way. So on to the bulk of the games. And then we got 2 Monday night games again this week. So there's a lot of football here over the next few days.
Absolutely. And lots of injuries as well, right? Like last week, there were some injuries. There was lots of buys. This week, only a couple of buys, lots of injuries, though, dealing with. And there's going to be some of this, that there's going to be some guys in some starting lineups that, you were looking at prior to the season going, I don't even need to worry about this guy, whatever, like not even on my radar to draft. And now you have to scramble going, this is going to be my wide receiver 2 this week. So it's interesting for sure.
Yeah. So what we should have CD Lamb back. That's a win. So we like that. Mike Evans, we hope we have back. There's no official word yet. They have the Monday night game. So I'm hoping that we hear something tomorrow, maybe Sunday morning before the games. That way we kind of know leading in if we need to pivot off of Mike Evans. So be on the lookout there. But what we do know George Kittle's back. They're saying no restrictions, so he'll get his full workload. But Brock Purdy is out. Ricky Parasol's out. Terry McLaurin out. Brock Bowers out.
Bucky Irvin out. Chris Godwin
Bucky
out.
Irving's still out. Godwin's out. Yeah.
Amari DiMarcado, right, was a guy that was hot on the waiver wire not long ago. He's out again this week.
Yep. So Bam Knight to the moon. Right. It's not a sexy running game for the Cardinals, but if you're dying for running backs, like, he's a guy that's going to see touches. So, you play the volume and you hope for the best. Chuba Hubbard should be back. So I'm interested to see kind of how that workload pairs out between Rico and Chuba. I would be shocked if Rico doesn't carry the ball more and see more touches, just with how he's been the last 2 weeks. Like, there's saying riding the hot hand, and then there's actually like riding a hot hand. And right now, Rico Dowdle just has a hot hand, right? 2 straight weeks of over 200 all-purpose yards. Like, he's scoring touchdowns. The offense seems to be a bit more electric with him in the game at the moment. So a new head coach in Tennessee is another thing that we're trying to figure out, right? To pivot from Carolina over, but what does that mean for Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears? So that's another split backfield that I'm kind of interested in to see, is it more of the same, or are we going to see, some differences or solidification on, okay, this is my 1 and this is my 2. So there's that. But yeah, there's the 50-mile-an-hour winds reportedly, at least for the moment, that we're going to see up in Cleveland, between Cleveland and Miami. So that's affecting lineup decisions and what we're going to do. So another week that we're dodging landmines, but we're here to help. Right. We're here to answer questions, help navigate through that, and just, try and get you through week 7 with a dub, right? Just 1 week at a time. And this is what we're focused on.
Absolutely. And I don't recall. Did we end up talking about Garrett Wilson or David Njoku?
Garrett Wilson's doubtful. He's not
Right.
officially been ruled out yet. Puka has been ruled out, though. I don't think we said anything about that. So Puka, we know, is out for the London game.
Right.
David Njoku, I did not. Has he
He's
officially
out.
or is
He is
he
out.
doubtful?
No,
Okay,
he
so
is.
he's
He is
officially out. So
officially out. Harold Fannin to the moon.
yes, and legitimately, like there's a very, very, very small number of tight ends that I would play over Harold Fannin this week, for many, many reasons. So we can get into that depending on how the questions look out, but it's pretty much top. I mean, 4 tight end Harold Fannin this week is kind of where the projections are for me.
The
So
only
we'll see how it shakes out.
the only doubt that I have on Harold Fannin is the is that wind that you mentioned earlier, right? That
The short routes, that's why I love it.
right.
Like it keeps it short because he's not going down the field. So that's part of the reason I like it. But I mean, going through the list, like Trey McBride, yes.
Check.
Okay. Tyler Warren,
Check.
yes. George Kittle, I really like George Kittle because Tong had been getting a ton of run with Mac Jones. Now Kittle steps in. So I think he sees that. So yes, Kittle with Parasol being down, Jennings being questionable. So I really do like George Kittle's that number 3. After that, it's kind of bunched. Like Tucker Kraft, touchdown dependent. Jake Ferguson has been great, but CD Lamb's back. So I think Jake Ferguson's a guy that you want to sell
Right.
because he's never going. I shouldn't say never. I don't see him being as good the rest of the season as he's been for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So now's a really good time to sell on Jake Ferguson and be able to capitalize on that. And then Harold Fannon's kind of right there. Like those 3 guys are kind of the next, and I think Fannon's right there. So top 4. Like, and I guess that's how I came to that conclusion. Everybody else, I'm like, like Laporta, maybe. I think Laporta could be top 5, but again, I don't think it's as clear of a pathway to targets as Harold Fannin has because currently no one has targeted the tight end more this season than the Cleveland Browns. It's just been split up between Njoku and Fannin.
Right.
Now Njoku's out of the way. Harold Fannin may not see every single one of those targets, but if he's going to see 60% of Njoku's targets plus his, the volume alone should get you there, even with these wins. Like he could have 8 catches, 88 yards, fall in the end zone for a touchdown, and that's good enough for a top 5 tight end these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one too that could be interesting, right? Like if you're desperation mode, need a streamer, K Dotton is a guy that I really like on that one as well, right? That's at Detroit, and that's going to be kind of an interesting game there because I do think that Detroit and Tampa Bay, we're going to see one of the 2 extremes, right? We're going to see these 2 defenses kind of lock down and keep things tight, but I think what's going to end up happening is Detroit's secondary is pretty beat up. Brian Branch is missing is going to miss this game. Joseph Kirby, another one of their safeties, left the last game being banged up and was questionable going into that game. So, what he looks like and how that's going to play out there, like this could be one of those that we could see a little bit of a track meet end up happening here with that Tampa Bay side of things and Detroit keeping pace on that. So,
yep, absolutely.
Like it wouldn't surprise me if Detroit and Tampa Bay exceed the combined score of that Cincy and Pittsburgh game last night. And there's 64 points scored in that Cincy Pittsburgh game. Like this could be up there where there's 30 plus points put up on each side in that Detroit and Tampa Bay side as well.
Yes. I think you're spot on there, right? Tampa has not been as locked down defensively as we've seen in years past. Offensively, they've been able to hang around because of Baker. Detroit's gaps in the defense allow for that, and Detroit's so damn aggressive that anytime they can get a chance to go for it on 4th down, they seemingly do so. That's just in their bloodline. So I'm not expecting a whole lot of punts in that game. So that typically leads to more points being scored. And in Tampa Bay's case, Rashad White's been serviceable, but he's not the running back that Bucky Irving is, right? Like, it's just kind of one of those things. Now, I say that only to remind everyone that I did say that he'd have more fantasy points than Bucky Irving by the time the season was over, and this is definitely helping my bold take from 12 weeks ago. I didn't think it was going to come quite like this, but hey, I'll take it.
So, absolutely. So yeah, all of that to say, there's lots of waters to navigate this week, and we're certainly here to help along the way. Any other news notes that we want to hit up here? We're ready to start diving into some questions.
Ready to start diving in. No Calvin Ridley also. Sorry.
Oh, yep, correct.
Forgot about that one. No Calvin Ridley also.
So, and I don't know that I'm necessarily signing off on Io Manor to take up and rock and roll that this week. Like, desperation flex plays where I would have him for anybody that's curious.
Yeah, again, with transitioning the head coach, like, it's interesting. Like, let's see how this looks. I wish Ridley were there just for the full complement of offensive weapons, just to kind of see what the mindset's going to be. But Io Manners should see plenty of targets in this game.
Right. The problem is that if they're 9 targets and only 4 of them are catchable, like, that gets to be a little rough, especially for your fantasy side.
No, absolutely. But opportunity it's all we can ask for.
Fair enough. All righty, let's go ahead and jump on in here. Jason, over on YouTube, start 3. 1 must be a wide receiver slot. Elick Io Manor, Wan'Dale Robinson, Pollard, Vidal. Rico is an option, but Schubert back, so probably won't play him.
Start 3. 1 must be a wide receiver. So if 1 has to be a wide receiver, it's Wan'Dale Robinson.
Correct. That's where I'm at as well.
And then the other 2, Vidal, and I'm going Rico over Pollard.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't mind that one. Like, Vidal's a must start in there between those running backs, right? Haskins is questionable into this game. The Chargers definitely kind of tipped their hat on who's going to be the lead back there. I think with the absent of both Hampton and Najee. So I think Vidal's a must start there. Yeah, we're going to see some coaching influx change going on in Tennessee. So that could be an interesting thing with the Pollard Spears side of thing. But I don't mind riding that hot hand with Rico as well, right? Like, back-to-back 200-yard days. I have a hard time believing that they just abandoned him, and you're not going to see him still get a ton of run.
So worst case scenario, things stay status quo in Tennessee. So Pollard splits with Spears, and Rico turns around and shifts, and he splits with Chuba. I would Rico right now is running the ball better than Pollard is, right? Even if they're both in split back. Like, and I don't see Tony Pollard taking 80% of the snaps. I just don't. So Tony Pollard gets 55% of the snaps. That's fine. I think Rico could probably do the same damage or even more, even if he's only getting 45 to 50%, right? So less volume, better output still. So that's why I'm leaning Rico this week, right? We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Because again, the Jets offensively are going to be nothing. Like, the Panthers are going to be able to stay in this game the entire time because the Jets offensively have Breece Hall and maybe Mason Taylor, like, as a tight end. I don't see him carrying the water a great deal. So I think that the Panthers should be able to stay in this game throughout, which makes the run game extremely viable.
Right. Well, and we just saw how much trouble Justin Fields had with the forward pass in the last outing. So,
well, the Broncos defense is a hell of a lot better than what Carolina's is.
That's true, but to your point, Carolina will be in this game just because the game kicks off. at that point. Like the Jets offense is nothing to even think about riding home.
No, it's not striking fear.
No. All righty. Jason over on YouTube, start one. Waddle in the 50-mile-an-hour wind. DJ Moore, Chubb, Cup, Rico, Chuba back.
Rico. All the same reasons.
Right.
Like, I do not trust Tua in this setting at all. DJ Moore has been third in targets for the Bears. Like, I'm not believing that. Chubb, I think we're leaning towards a split between him and Woody Marks, the same as Rico and Chuba. And again, Chuba has more pop. And Cooper Kupp, it was nice to see him get in the end zone last week, but that offense runs through JSN.
Yes, very much so.
So I'm still leaning Rico on that one.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Those weapons in Miami at this point. I want to see how this team reacts to the quarterbacks, the comments that Tua made here over the last bit. There's a lot of people out there kind of taking stands on that one, and aren't necessarily in that locker room. We haven't really heard that come out, but those are the type of things that can be
break it up real quick. Yeah,
right. That can be divisive in there, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing we talked about a couple of weeks ago with Philadelphia, right? With all this talking and chattering and everything else that was going on coming out of that locker room, with guys winning games, coming off all of the things that were going right there, and they certainly
drop two straight, right?
Yep.
They start chirping, right? And everybody gets a mouth and wants to say something, and then your focus is gone. You lose 2 games.
Right. And Miami struggled all year long to begin with. So I don't know that that's the galvanizing thing that brings them together to do that. So Waddle is a definite out for me on that one. And I would lean the Rico side of things as well. Jason saying start one this week or rest of season. So let's answer this 2-part question, right? For week 7, rest of season, and it's a tight end question. Ertz or Henry?
I'm leaning Henry on both. Ertz is a little banged up. This Washington offense, it's great to have Jaden Daniels back, but they're trying to run the ball quite a bit. They've been fairly successful running the ball, honestly. But I just don't think Ertz is the guy this week, right? Being banged up. I know he's a veteran, everything else, but Hunter Henry's been a big part of Patriots offense week in and week out, and he's got a clean bill of health. So give me the healthy guy if they're that close. And I think rest of season, Drake May will continue to use Hunter Henry. I think Zach Ertz will see his target share continue to dwindle, especially if Terry McLaurin can get back on the field anytime soon.
I mean, Zach Ertz is very much a right, and I've kind of stuck by this comparison for 2 seasons straight now that Zach Ertz is a 4 for 40 guy, right? Like he's a very safe floor for you. He's going to go out there and reliably get you about 4 receptions for 40 yards week in, week out. If he falls into the end zone, you're going to really like, if one of those 4 catches is for a touchdown, you're really going to like your week and you're going to have a top 10 week. If he doesn't do that, you're a back end tight end 2 at best, right? Hunter Henry, as you mentioned before, he is more involved with that offense. I do think that the Patriots have will potentially have a better overall week this week. But both of them are volatile for this week, and both of them are a bit volatile rest of the season. But I would still lean on the Hunter Henry side of things rest of the season as well as this week. I think Hunter Henry can sneak into back end tight end 1 when the season's all said and done. I think Zach Ertz is a middling wide receiver at when the season's all said and done. So that's kind of how I have that and where I'm seeing that. Any other thoughts on that one?
No, sir.
All right. Jason saying start 1 this week or rest of season. We got lots of start this week and rest of seasons. All right. So we're going to break this one up in 2 parts again. Danny Pennies, which I'm assuming means Daniel Jones, Love, being Jordan Love and Murray, and I'm thinking that's Kyler Murray.
So I'm going Danny Dimes definitely this week, and I'm leaning that way with how he's played for the season. So again, this is it's a good road test for the Colts, going up against the Chargers. But with his rushing ability, I think it helps get him there. Kyler Murray's been dinged up. I'm not convinced Kyler's going to play on Sunday, guys. Like I think there's a very, very likely shot that we see Jacoby Brissett again at quarterback. So Kyler Murray definitely for this week is automatically out. Like I don't want the headache. So I like Jordan Love, and the matchup looks great against Arizona. The problem is the Packers have been pretty just consistent. They're going to find ways to run the ball. And the Packers are very slow and methodical once the game settles in. Like the first drive or two, you see Jordan Love kind of drive it down the field, and then the game gets really small. It's just kind of how they've been running the last couple weeks. So, um, he starts out really hot, and then they focus on the run, and then he sprinkles in some shots here and there. So, um, it's not that Love's in a bad spot, and I think that's probably the true. It's probably a closer to 50-50 proposition between Daniel Jones and Jordan Love this week than not. But I'm leading Jones for the rushing upside. I like the fact that they're on the road in this game because I don't. The Chargers have kind of played to their level of competition, if you will, and they've let some bad teams hang around for a while. And if Daniel Jones is able to hang in there, you could see another, you know, 2 touchdown performance total out of him. And I think he's more likely to have 2 than Jordan Love is to have 2.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm kind of with you, or I'm with you on the Kyler side of thing. I think it's less than a 50-50 shot that Murray plays this week. So
I agree.
he's out, and I'm not looking to entertain that one, especially when I've got options such as a Daniel Jones or Jordan Love. Very much like what you're talking about on the Jordan Love side of things. I do think that you're going to see a lot of that play out there. But when it's all said and done, I think realistically these guys are probably within a point of each other. So it is a pure coin flip this week between Daniel Jones, Jordan Love for me. I think I like the potential for the Chargers and the Colts to get a little bit more higher scoring than the Green Bay and Arizona. So I would lean on the Daniel Jones side for this week. But again, pretty much a coin toss for me. As far as rest of the season, I would also lean on the Daniel Jones side. Jordan Love. I think there's still a chance we can see Daniel Jones finish back end quarterback 1 for the season, and I think Jordan Love is kind of middle to top end QB2 type of range. So that's kind of where I've got them rest of the season as well. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, I don't think so.
All right, awesome. Jason over on YouTube is asking, I've traded Ladd, Myers, Swift for his Nico and Harrison. Thoughts? Running backs are Barkley, Kyron, Javonte. Wide receivers are London, Sutton, Evans, and Terry. If it helps, I never started Myers.
I don't mind this trade. I don't mind it, right? Like we've starting to see a little bit of an uptick in Ladd. Yes, it helps that Quentin Johnston's been out, but it's nice to know that Herbert remembers who Ladd McConkey is these last couple of weeks with him falling in the end zone. Jacoby Myers is an afterthought. And then DeAndre Swift coming off a really good game, right? So, but you have the running back room to support it, right? Like you're not playing DeAndre Swift over those 3 options on any given week. So I don't mind that. Nico and Harrison both maybe have gotten off to a little bit of a slower start, but I think it's good insurance, right? In case Evans doesn't come back and look great with the hamstring. Terry's still out with the quad issue. Because Nico Nico instantly pairs up well with Drake London, and then you can kind of flip-flop back and forth if you need to between Sutton and Harrison based off of how their seasons are going. So I have no qualms with this.
Right. I don't mind it either. And again too, right? Like depending upon some of the matchups, things like that, you can flex guys out, you can play that around there. So I think that you still have some depth and you still have some flexibility with that roster. I like it. Jason was saying that they've also got White and Rico as spot starts for running backs as well. So yep.
Even better.
Yep.
Even better.
Terry over on YouTube saying a full point PPR and a redraft. Trade away Genty to acquire Chase Brown and Sutton. The team is Hurts, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Bucky, Genty, McBride, Debo. Bench is Rashad White, Worthy, Bill, Mason Goddard, Hunter, Aaron Jones, Swift, and Blue.
All right. Give me a second. I'm digesting this as I'm reading it. So as I'm reading this, I don't love it. Chase Brown, while he did get some explosives in, and it was good to see him run the ball as well as they did against Pittsburgh, he's definitely been a sore spot. And with Bucky being down, Genty's kind of a nice lean-to. Now White's there, so that kind of helps cover that up. He's getting more and more of that backfield. So as I'm reading this, and I think I'm okay with it, but I don't know that I see the purpose. It is like, are we doing this because Wilson's down and AJ Brown's been like less than desirable here to start? Like, is that the purpose of this trade?
Right.
Like, and I think that's kind of where I'm at here, because you have all these bench guys, right? Worthy, okay.
And Worthy's been startable.
Oh yeah, Worthy's been great. What's he gonna do with Rashee Rice? Like, right. There's sides on both camps, right? Rashee Rice is gonna take some underneath pressure away. So Worthy's gonna see some more of these deep shots where Thornton had been targeted as long as the shoulder doesn't flare up again. So maybe Worthy's able to get open a little bit easier if they're sliding some safety help over towards Rashee Rice. That's possible. Debo has been he's hurt, but he's not injured, right? Like, he's been showing up because he's been kind of the only guy for Washington quarterbacks in general to throw the ball to here over the last few weeks. So I don't know that I hate it, but I don't think I love it either. Like, I again, it gives you some depth at running back, which you do or don't need, and Sutton helps you through bye weeks, right? But you're assuming that Bucky's coming back next week, right? Like, is that the assumption? So I don't know, Terry. I'm torn on this one, man. Like, I don't think I love it. I don't think I would have pulled the trigger, but I think I understand it enough to where, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't like it. Like, I'm just fully out on it, to be honest, right? Like, and maybe the scoring's a little bit different, things like that, but I don't understand trading away Genty, who is a top 12 running back on the season, can projected to still finish in an RB1 territory, to go out and get Chase Brown, who I think at best maybe has some some running back 2 type of appeal for you. And then you're getting Sutton, right? Sutton certainly has some appeal as a wide receiver 2. And I think can do some interesting things for you there. But like, you're trading away a wide receiver 1 for a guy that Chase Brown, I think, really is. We need to consider him a running back 3 at this point. Desperation flex play. And Sutton, who's a wide receiver 2. So when Garrett Wilson's back and healthy, right, that He's filling as your wide receiver 1. AJ Brown would be kind of the wide receiver 2 in that scenario there. I would look at trying to package some things differently, Terry, and try and go out and get a different wide receiver if that's really what you're trying to accomplish there. I mean, it might be worth, right? Some people are still way down on Brian Thomas Jr. See if you can't offload AJ Brown and a piece to go get Brian Thomas Jr. Right? Like I think I'd rather do something like that. Try to acquire Tet McMillan. You might be able to get that one done straight up for AJ Brown for Tet. Try and go straight up lad for AJ Brown. Like there's a lot of other things that I'd be looking to do there, but I'm just not a fan of this trade. And I'm not real sure what it does for your roster other than add some depth. And yeah, you're potentially looking at trying to fill in around there, but that's kind of where I'm at. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. George Play over on YouTube. Sup, guys? Need a flex for this week. Non-PPR between Worthy, Golden, Henderson, Woody, or Miller.
Worthy.
Yeah, as much as I don't want to say Worthy, I think it is.
If it's non-PPR and you're just going for give me Worthy is my thought, right? Like Golden's a similar type player in a team that doesn't throw the ball as much.
Right.
And when they do throw it, it's spread out. The target tree is much larger. Like give me Xavier Worthy here.
Right. Miller, I don't want to, whatever that volume is going to be. And really the problem that you've got is Miller, playing the second string there. Depending upon the week, Henderson or Woody might be playing second string on that as well. So as much as I don't like it, I would also go Worthy as well. Killikev over on YouTube. Pick 2 full point PPR between Rome, Brian Thomas Jr., Rashee Rice, and London.
Wow. Okay.
London's got to be the smash, I think.
I'm agreeing with that right away. So London, yes. Man, I'm leaning Rice. Like I just feel like Andy Reid's gonna have a big package for him. And so going against Las Vegas is probably the easiest defense that we're gonna see. Like New Orleans for Rome. I'm going Rice by a hair. If you don't like Rice, I would pivot to Rome Odunze. But Brian Thomas Jr. is clearly 4th on this list for me. Derek and I have already said Drake London is absolutely in. So do you have any thoughts on 2 or 3? How would you rank those guys?
I've got it ranked very similar to, actually not similar. I've got it ranked how you have it ranked there, right? With Drake, Rashee, Rome, and Brian in that order, right? But this one is tough because realistically, I think each one of these guys could finish in the top 15 wide receivers this week. But Drake London's the smash, gotta play, right? This is one of those that Michael Penix Jr. has just been targeting him in bunches, right? Like there is a good chance that he sees double-digit targets on that one. So smash the yes button, move on. Opportunity should be there, and Atlanta's been looking good on offense, right? So there's a chance that they put up a points in bunches as well. Rashee Rice, I think that there's some things that we'll see being trying to be proved, right? Whether whatever that may be and whatever angle you want to put on that, but I think there'll be some things that try to be proved on the field and how that shows up. And I do think that he's going to be heavily utilized this week. Rome Odunze, I like the matchup there. Brian Thomas Jr. The Rams have been pretty good defensively, and that'd be kind of the drawback that I have there. But realistically, I think each one of these guys could finish top 15 on the week. It wouldn't surprise me. But I've got that ordered the same way, right? London, Rice, Odunze, Thomas. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, sir.
Tingley saying, hey, good old boys. Pick 2, 1 running back, 1 flex, full point PPR. Dobbins, Swift, Evans, Golden. Just feeling shaky about Swift injury and Evans coming back from one.
I don't know that you need to be shaky about the Swift injury. Like he's been fighting through it, and there really hasn't been much of a concern coming out of Chicago about it. I think a lot of it's just veteran management. So I would obviously I would rather have Mike Evans than Matthew Golden if Evans plays.
Correct.
So if we get news prior to kickoff for the Packers that Evans is going to play, I would put him in the flex spot. Like, is where I would lean.
Over Dobbins or Swift?
Over anybody. I would put Mike Evans in there. Like, let Baker feed his guy with Mbuka being out and Godwin being out. If Mike Evans is in, I think he's in for a big workload. So that's if. If Mike Evans is out, I would go with the 2 running backs in Dobbins and Swift.
Okay. Between Dobbins and Swift, which one is the running back that you're for sure?
Yeah, I knew you were going to gas me that.
I'll be honest, in my own opinion, I've got these guys back to back. They're neck and neck this week, right? Both of them are, I feel, pretty solid RB2s this week. And really, when it's all said and done, would not surprise me to see these guys within a half point to 1 point of each other when it comes to fantasy output. So I would probably lean the Swift side, the Dobbins side of things just a little bit. I like the matchup a little bit better against New York and the Giants there versus DeAndre and the Saints. But if you want to pound the table for Swift, I could be persuaded.
Yeah, I'll co-sign that. Very, very much a toss-up. In the home league, I'm starting both of them this week.
Right.
Just kind of the situation that I'm in. I'm starting both those Dobbins and Swift in the home league this week. So luckily, I don't have to make that call. But I think I would agree. Very similar outputs. The good thing about Swift is he's not really sharing the backfield the way that Dobbins is. Just as far as snap share, again, opportunity. Swift is on the field for a larger percentage of plays than Dobbins is.
Right.
But I do think that the Broncos are to a spot where they want to continue to get this run game going, right? Bo Nix is not he's not lighting the world on fire. I think he's playing a little bit better, but there's still some inconsistencies in his game. Maybe they feel like this is a get-right game, but, I mean, you got to be on your toes, right? Both teams coming off of wins against Philly here over the past couple of weeks. So, and quite frankly, New York's was more impressive. So
yes, it was.
Different styles, but I like the fact that they're both at home. I'll go Dobbins by a hair, and I mean just a hair.
So, yeah, and I could be talked into doing the Dobbins and Swift for both the running backs and the flex. I think Evans I think provides you the biggest ceiling between the 3 players. But I think Dobbins and Swift provide probably a much safer floor at that point. I also get a little leery about playing guys coming off of returning from an injury kind of first thing on that one, but especially kind of the soft tissue injuries. But I could be talked into going Evans. So Tingley, in my opinion, as far as that goes, I would play both Dobbins and Swift if you're projected to win and win pretty easily, and you need some consistent points. Dobbins and Swift your play. If you're going to be trailing on that one, Evans is your guy to put in the flex and rock and roll that and shoot for the upside there. Any other thoughts on that one?
No.
All right. Killer Kev over on YouTube is saying Vidal or Rico in a half-point PPR.
No. Backfield's all to himself.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Haskins is questionable coming into this game, and even when they were both suited up last week, Vidal definitely carried the lion's share, and I don't know that changes this week. Terry, going back to that trade with Chase Brown's rest of season schedule versus Genties.
Yeah, but it's his usage. Jets, Chicago, Pittsburgh again, Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore. I'm not sure. What do you... I guess maybe this is where we differ a little bit, Terry. I'm looking at this, and I'm not getting the warm and fuzzies. There's no way Pittsburgh lets happen again in their own house what just happened on Thursday night. So I'm not loving that. And then Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore to kind of finish the season and start the playoffs. I expect the Ravens to be in full press mode by then. They'll be healthy. They should hopefully start clicking a little bit. I see it as of right now, but as I'm looking towards the future, I don't love their rest of season.
Yeah, I think they're pretty comparable. Right? Like Baltimore's been easier on the run, but their defense is decimated. I think by the time we get to week 13 where the Bengals play Baltimore, that defensive tackle that they've been out with and Nidake, he's been out most of the season. I think he'll be back. I think you'll see
Hamilton and Roquan back. You'll see and
it's
so now
divisional matchup.
Yes. And like you said, the Raiders isn't a cakewalk, right? I mean, Jacksonville, okay, you feel better about that one. At Denver,
that's
Dallas,
a rough one.
Cakewalk, right? You see Dallas is a cakewalk. Cleveland, which is super tough.
Right.
And here's the deal. One of those two Denver games, Genty's going to get loose.
Mm-hmm.
Oakland has figured out how to run against the Denver Broncos no matter what. We've seen it with Josh Jacobs. We've seen it with
it doesn't even matter who they've got back there. One of those games, a running back just runs all over the Broncos.
Yeah, they just push the crap out of the Broncos at times. So I think that's a split at best. Philly, you could make an argument for Philly that even same thing with Baltimore, right? They're going to be in playoff form, kind of getting things rounded out. Houston, Giant, I give it to you. And I'd tell you it's a split. At best, I'd tell you it's a split. So I see it. And again, Terry, I'm not bashing you on what you did, right? I just my 2 cents is it wouldn't be good enough for me to pull the trigger.
Right.
I understand it, but it wouldn't be good enough for me.
And Terry chimes in too, saying that Genty's schedule is a huge concern, especially if they trade Myers.
I don't worry about Myers. He doesn't run the football.
Right. I mean, and at that point,
he's not doing anything out there anyway. I mean, so you just have more Josh. Yeah, you just have more Trey Tucker and Josh Beck. Brock Bowers should be healthy, so he'll supplement with that, right? I mean, maybe it's rose-colored glasses on my part, but I don't find that being a discerning factor or a deciding factor. I mean,
and honestly, I think the schedules are a coin flip between the two of them when it comes to rest of season strength of schedule on that. And that even includes the playoffs, right? I think they're probably pretty close to one another there. Mario over on YouTube saying, "Good evening, fellas. Good call on starting Rodgers rather than Stroud. Rodgers had his best week so far."
Well, don't think us yet. Houston's still got to play. It looks good, right? You feel good about it going in for sure. So at least it wasn't a dud, right? Aaron Rodgers outperformed where we thought he was going to be. So even if Stroud does have a better game, there's no reason to kick yourself, right? You made a call. The call did pan out via the Thursday night game, and now I wouldn't even concern myself with what CJ Stroud does and compare it. You got to feel good with what Rodgers gave you last night and just ride it into the weekend.
Right. I mean, 4 touchdowns, 250 yards. You gotta love it, right? Like that's a great way to start off your week. And when you can put up that kind of deal, especially if you were streaming a quarterback, now you start seeing your opponent have to try and make other moves on that. And so there is some of that gamesmanship that comes into play. Part of the reason I like playing guys on Thursday night, especially if they have the chance of blowing up, because you can alter what your opponent's going to do when they look at that and go, oh, I'm now got to chase some points here, and I've got to try and do that. And you may see your opponent make some riskier moves that may not pay out there. So it is one of those that I like it. I like it a lot. Terry over on YouTube saying full point PPR pick 2 between Rome, Adams, Pickens, Dobbins. I feel like Adams is a smash got to play, especially with Puka out. Like as much as we were just with London,
agree.
yeah, as much as we were just with London, I'd be like smash on Adams there.
It's the London game that freaks me out.
Yeah, I get that.
I hate these London games with a fiery passion, and I say it every week, and I'm not going to stop saying it. I hate these London games, but you're right. Opportunity. Devontae Adams should see a crap ton of targets, a crap ton. So I like that as a smash, yes. So Rome, Pickens, or Dobbins. I think I like Pickens, and it's scary with CeeDee Lamb coming back. But again, the Cowboys have to score, 35 plus points. Like they need 5 touchdowns to legitimately have a case for this game, even with the receiving core of Washington banged up. Their defense is just so bad. And so it keeps Dak Prescott and his receiving core in play at all times. And George Pickens has arguably earned his annual salary over the last 3 weeks with how he stepped up. And if the Cowboys didn't have CeeDee Lamb, you would still feel okay running out George Pickens as your one.
Right.
There's not many as all these teams, they try and run 2 receivers, but how many can truly say that? Truly. We're going to find out if the Rams are one of those teams. But Cowboys. Outside of that, like it's not Detroit.
No.
Like it's not Buffalo. It's not Baltimore. Maybe Cincinnati if Joe Burrow's quarterback. Maybe you see T. Higgins kind of do that, but T. Higgins can't match Jamar Chase. George Pickens athletically can match CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's more talented overall. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying George Pickens is a better receiver. I'm saying athletically, he is a freak in just different ways, and we have seen that showcased here over the last 3 weeks. So I think it's Pickens for me. If you're really nervous about that, I would pivot to Rome, and then Dobbins just below Rome Odunze.
Yeah, I would actually have Dobbins further down on that. So Dobbins is kind of a distant 4th for me. Adams is the smash, yes, on that. And it does come down to a coin flip between Pickens and Rome Odunze for me. Realistically, I think these guys are going to be within about a half point to a point of each other. So I feel pretty good about either way you want to go. Like, wouldn't surprise me to see both of these guys finish inside top 10 wide receiver for this week when it's all said and done. So I feel like you've got a great choice here, right? I would probably lean the Pickens side of things there just a little bit, because there is a chance that Chicago, right? Like New Orleans, for all of their struggles this year, they've done a pretty good job of keeping teams to like 20 points and kind of right around 20 points. Dallas, in order to even be in a game and have a chance not to lose the game, to Kevin's point, they've got to put up, I think realistically, they've got to put up 30, 35, 37 points to stay within any game. So I do think that you're going to get into a bit of a shootout when it comes to this Dallas and Washington game. And I'll go with the guy that I think is going to be in the higher scoring affair. The better chance for points and for him to fall into the end zone. So it is Adams smash, Pickens by a hair, and Dobbins is a distant fourth. Any other thoughts on that?
Nope.
Dummy Man Pluto over on Twitch. Hey guys, I made a trade. Wonder what the thoughts are. Traded Stafford and Pitts for Daniel Jones, have Jackson Dart, George Kittle, and Darren Waller. Also have Kyron, 4 points per passing TD. I don't mind it.
I don't hate it, right? I mean, you don't need to carry 3 tight ends.
No.
You don't. So you take the upside. Daniel Jones has a little bit more with his legs, but Matt Stafford's leading the league in passing yards right now. So it's not that Stafford's having a bad year. That Jones does give you a bit of that rushing upside where you get basically 0 from Matt Stafford. So I don't hate the trade. You're definitely not missing out on tight end, having Kittle coming back and being able to pivot to Darren Waller if you need to. So that doesn't bother me. I think you did okay here.
Right. I would say same thing, right? I'd rather have the Daniel Jones side in that one, and for much the same reason, right? If it's a 4 point passing, 4 points per passing touchdown, means you're getting 6 points per rushing touchdown, and Daniel Jones may still sneak in and get you another 2 or 3 on the ground. Matt Stafford, might get you 2 or 3 yards rushing the rest of the season, right? Like there's a big difference in those two and their leg work there. So Stafford will continue to get the job done with the arm. But I do like the Daniel Jones upside with the legs. And I do think that you could potentially see Daniel Jones sneak into a top 12 quarterback by the end of this, finished as a top 12 quarterback end of season. Matthew Stafford, I think probably QB 16, 17, 18 when it's all said and done. So I do think that you're probably in a better spot there. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, cosign.
Killy Kev over on YouTube, Vidal or Monty?
Vidal.
Okay. I don't know that I disagree with that. You were there much faster than I was, though. But
hell yes, give me the entire workload of a LA Chargers backfield. Hell yes. I don't even need him to do what he did last week. Give me 88 with 3 red zone carries. And let's just see what happens.
Fair enough.
It's just the Lions are too unpredictable right now. So give me the guy where I know I'm getting volume. We've seen Monty bust out, right, for a couple of really good games where Gibbs hasn't been as involved, but we've seen it on the other side too. So give me the entire workload, or at least the vast majority of the workload with Vidal, and I will let the chips fall where they will.
Fair enough. Yeah, you talked me into it. As much as I wanted to kind of hem and haw on that one and lean that way. Yeah, I'm right there with you. We'll co-sign. Terry over on YouTube saying Higgins and Chase will keep the boxes light with a competent QB. Tucker may be Geno's number 1 wide receiver.
Maybe. Yeah, but you still have Bowers coming back, right? Like this shows that they shouldn't have played him the week after the injury, right? With how long he's down. This shows the Raiders made a boneheaded move and they should have just put him on IR to begin with. Now he's not been on IR, which is fine. But number 1 wide receiver, maybe. But again, Brock Bowers just had an amazing rookie season at tight end. His athleticism isn't going anywhere. So if they get rid of Myers, so what? You run Tucker, you run Beck out there, and you're running it through Bowers. And you can do that.
Right.
You can do that. Bowers and Genty can carry that water for a while. You throw a couple deep shots to
Tucker and
to Tucker and see where you land, right? You mean maybe end up with another 5 for 172 and 3 touchdowns. We've seen it once before. You can't plan on it, but it's possible. They'll keep taking a random deep shot. Geno's just been really bad right now. And part of this is because Jacoby Myers has been non-existent and looks like he doesn't give a shit about football.
Fair enough. And with the boxes light like this, Terry, that goes back into the point I made a couple weeks ago, was that quite frankly, a lot of teams try and use the run to set up the pass. Cincinnati has got to use the pass to set up the run. Now, I don't know that we're going to see much in the way of a Joe Flacco being able to duplicate that performance week in, week out, because that was definitely turning back the clock when he throws for 342 and 3 touchdowns, 31 for 47. Like, yeah, they had some things working and they had some things working there really well, but
260 and 1.5. Like, that's kind of where I feel like Joe Flacco is going to live rest of the season each game. Just from my standpoint, to add to what you're saying, right? The 340 was awesome, right? It was great to see. I think realistically, where you need to have realistic expectations with Joe Flacco, 260 yards a week and 1.5 touchdowns. Some weeks he's only going to get one. There's going to be a couple where he gets 2. So that, and again, lighter boxes are great. Cincinnati's offensive line is still trash.
Right.
They double chipped on almost every play Thursday night on both ends. Like, I don't think that's sustainable, and they're not going to carry that mindset with everybody else. And so it's just right. I mean, we're splitting hairs slightly, right? Oh, Las Vegas is bad. Cincinnati has been bad. The upside for Cincinnati is there where it's not with Vegas in most cases. But as we drill it down per player and what each player means to their offense, Las Vegas does not move the ball at all right now if it's not for Ashton Genty. We've seen Cincinnati still be able to move the ball even if Chase Brown's only getting 30, 40 yards a game.
Right. And getting 2 or 3 yards, getting 2 and change on a per carry basis, right? Like, and not only that, that's now on film. You can guarantee that teams are going to have, right. That's nice that we think the boxes will be lighter. Most of those throws were coming out quick, and I mean super fast on the Joe Flacco side of thing. It wouldn't surprise me if you start seeing actually heavier boxes more towards the line of scrimmage on this, trying to get pressure on, because if he's going to either one, you're going to put the pressure on to make the ball come out that fast and play down into a zone, play down into more men in the passing lanes there and limit some of that, which that's only going to complicate things for Chase Brown there as well. But I mean, it is your roster and how you want to play that one. So if you feel better off with the trade, rock and roll it. If you don't, then we've kind of talked our piece around that one. Any other thoughts on this?
No.
All right. And Terry saying that they haven't accepted the trade, and thanks for the advice. Most welcome.
Absolutely, man.
All right. Tingley saying, how are we feeling about Chase Brown now? There's some life with Flacco at the helm, or nah, should I try and trade him for better?
If you can flip him after this great week, I would do it. And I say great week. He didn't even get in the end zone. He just finally hit 100 yards. Right. Had some explosive plays, got some life back into him, still didn't fall in the end zone. So if you can get something that you feel confident with, this would be the week I would flip Chase Brown. I think he is I think he moved himself possibly back up into at least flex consideration. But again, that's just consideration. So it's just trying to navigate the waters of whether you think this is going to be the week or that's going to be the week. Like the Chase Brown we drafted, we expected, 10 touchdowns, 1,100, maybe 1,200 all-purpose yards. And we're not going to get anywhere close to that, guys. Like, we're just not. Like, it's just not there. So he might finish with 880 yards and
5 touchdowns.
5, maybe if we're lucky. I mean, things just have to go right. So it's tough. So I would say Brown's a great flip candidate after everybody just saw him have a much better game on national television Thursday night.
Right. And so, yeah, again, I would, if you can flip him, I would flip him. This would be the week to have done it, right? Because the schedule, I don't think gets much better from here, right? I think they still got Baltimore twice. I think that defense will be much healthier when they square up. Buffalo, I think that we'll see some better output there. The Jets, like they've got some tough games still coming up here, and this is again an offense that relies on the pass to set up the run. And again, I think this is one of those that, after watching that game last night, I think that you're going to see a lot more defenses actually creep towards the line of scrimmage. You're going to start seeing lots, actually heavier boxes. You're going to see some blitzes, things coming off the edge, trying to make the ball come out quick, and throwing that into a more concentrated area of defense there. And if you try and run that again, you now have everybody kind of sucked towards the line on that one. So I just don't know that I'm gonna subscribe to Chase Brown really, to the moon or having an uptick from here. Yes, I think it probably gets a little bit better, but I think you maybe better start looking at 50, 60 yards a week type of thing on that one.
And when we're saying better, at least for me, I'm thinking DeAndre Swift. I'm thinking J.K. Dobbins. I'm thinking JCM, right? Like names that maybe we weren't expecting to be calling out, but those are the three types of guys who aren't going to carry as much name power, so people aren't going to be freaking out and salivating all over them.
Right.
But it's in the wheelhouse of, okay, you hit up the Dobbins owner, like see how keen they are. Like, do you really think this guy's going to carry the water the rest of the year? Like, how many more weeks do you have until RJ Harvey takes over? Like, try and talk them into it. But that's kind of the range. Like, you're really not going a whole lot higher than that. Like, you're not going to get Bucky or Breece Hall or Kyron Williams or anything like that. Like, so
you're not going to get anything near what you drafted him at.
Right.
So, all right. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, sir.
All right. Che, over on YouTube, I have Tyler Warren and George Kittle. I had no luck trying to trade one. Am I starting a tight end in the flex position in a full point PPR? They go on to say they have Chase Brown. Oh, that's a different question there. So Che, I will tell you, it very much depends on what your other options are. Right?
I agree.
I've done it before where I've started two tight ends and it's worked out for me in the past, but again, it very much depends on my week and what my other options are. So maybe let us know what the other options are, and we can dive into that one a little bit deeper.
I'm shocked that you couldn't get something for one of the two of them.
Right.
And I'd much rather trade Kittle, but I mean, I am shocked that you couldn't do that. Teams are so tight end needy. That is a bit surprising, but I would agree with Derek. It fully depends on who you have as options. As far as the two tight ends go, you could do a hell of a lot worse than having to play Tyler Warren and George Kittle this week.
Right.
So I think it's a better position to be in this week than it is most. However, it does depend on who you got and what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Mario saying hit the like button and support the channel. Appreciate that, Mario. Also, guys, if wherever you listen to this, be sure to hit the subscribe button as well. Chase over on YouTube saying have Chase Brown and still have some hope just because his late season schedule is juicy.
I think that's debatable. Now you can hold out hope, right? Like I'm not saying don't hold out hope if that's what you want to do. I don't know that I would classify his late season as juicy.
Yeah,
he could be a reason that makes or breaks you getting into the playoffs. Like,
right,
without a doubt. Like if you're starting him, Buffalo, Baltimore again,
the Jets.
like it's It's not Russian roulette, but it's a gamble.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Jelly of the Month over on YouTube. Do you like Mason Taylor or Hunter Henry PPR? Drop one to stash Luther Burden, who would have around 11 keeper grade.
How many do you keep is my initial question. If you're only keeping one or two, I wouldn't worry about Luther Burden. Like, yeah, you'll end up probably paying a little bit more for him next year, and he's shown a couple flashes, but not enough to make me think, yeah, this guy's a keeper. As far as rest of season goes, I would lean Hunter Henry. This week, I would lean Mason Taylor.
Cosign. Yeah, especially with if Garrett Wilson misses, I think Mason Taylor is going. Would it surprise you if Mason Taylor sees 15 targets if Garrett Wilson misses?
Good Lord, that's a big number. 15, I think, would surprise me, but 12 wouldn't.
Okay. I mean, 12 targets at a tight end, like.
Heck yeah, right?
That very well may be tight at one at the end of the week.
Yeah, like again, like 8 for 88 and a touchdown. I think that's the same stat line I threw out earlier when I was just thinking about how this game script's going to go off the top of the head. You'd like for him to get in the end zone? Maybe, but I could 15 targets seems a little rich, but 8 of 12 for 88 yards with no other real receiver in sight aside from Breece Hall. Like, I think that's well within the wheelhouse of possibilities.
All right. Mario saying, is Luke McCaffrey, the Commanders wide receiver, a sleeper?
I mean,
that was the same noise I made in my head.
I'm not willing to sign off on that. Yes, he's flashed for a play or two over a couple different weeks, but I don't think so. Like, that's not where I would be leaning. I'd rather have Trey Tucker, right? Like a guy who's done nothing really after week 2. Like, I think he still kind of falls in the sleeper category with how he's performed here for the last couple of weeks. But if they trade Jacoby Myers, it gives him a boost. Like, I think that's more in that wheelhouse. So no, unless you were in a super deep league. And if you're in a super deep league, then that makes sense. But any type of a standard bench where your bench is 4 to 6 players, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a no. But and really, Luke McCaffrey, right? When on the weeks that he's done well, it has been touchdown dependent, right? Like, we have yet to see him see more than 3 targets a game. I don't know that changes much going forward, right? So this is one of those that when one of the 2 or 3 balls that he catches throughout the game, if it ends up falling into the end zone, you're pretty happy with that. If not, it's unusable type of performances. Right?
Troy Horton for Seattle is a guy that I think I would like more than Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah, I could see
that. We've seen these injuries on the Commanders, and Luke's still only getting a couple targets a week. If Cooper Kupp goes down, or God forbid if JSN goes down, Troy Horton's, I'm not going to say to the moon, but he instantly has wide receiver 2 relevance.
Right.
I don't see a scenario that gives Luke McCaffrey wide receiver 2 relevance.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I could think of is if Terry McLaurin misses more time and Debo misses time, you might see him creep up into the 5 or 6 target range a couple of weeks there. But yeah, again, it's still going to come down to him having to fall into the end zone on one of those. And touchdowns are hard to call. Right? That's why those anytime touchdowns are they typically have some good numbers next to them. So, any other thoughts on this one?
No, sir.
Jelly Month saying it's a keep 2 going back to the Mason Taylor, Hunter, Burden.
You can if you want to stash them for wide receiver depth in case Rome or DJ goes down. I buy into that, but I don't buy into them just to have the keeper grade.
Right. And quite frankly, that's one of those that if you're going through that and you're really looking to make that move, unless your league has a limitation on when you can add them for a keeper type of grade, I just let that thing roll out there and let it go. Right. Like if you're really looking to try and get somebody off the waiver wire to put into that kind of keeper grade, the week 13, 14 is probably a better bet there to try and do that kind of move. Jelly of the Month saying, thanks. One league QB, 4 points, passing TD. My QB, Bo Nix, has been inconsistent at best. Trade my RB5, Charbonnet. Don't have K9 for Jordan Love. That owner has Lamar, Baker, and Love.
I don't hate it because at least gives you an option.
Right.
Again, Nix has been inconsistent. Jordan Love's efficiencies are up, but they love to pound the rock in Green Bay right now. So you're not getting, I wouldn't say you're getting a ton of consistency out of it necessarily, but I like the options. Like being able to pivot between Bo Nix and Jordan Love is at least giving you the potential upside of each week.
Right. And you're not hammered into a particular matchup any single time. So
yeah,
I would
I don't
agree
hate that.
Yeah.
For RB5, yeah, go for it.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, I do believe that's going to take us down here about to the end of it. Guys, if you have any other questions, concerns, comments, let's go ahead and get those into the chat. We'll get those rock and rolled. While we're waiting to see if there's any others that come in, any final thoughts out there for the viewers and listeners?
Enjoy the weekend, man. Like, I mean, we got some good college football coming on Saturday. Some pretty decent NFL games, honestly. Like I think the slate's going to be pretty solid overall. Just continuing to navigate injuries, but I mean, the nature of the beast. But overall, I think it should be entertaining weekend. So enjoy it, cook out a little bit, right? Hang out with your friends and family. Stay safe. Hit us up on the socials at Good Old Boys FF. If you guys have any questions leading into the weekend, hit us up. We'll get back to you just as quickly as we can. But as always, we appreciate everybody tuning in and all the questions and allowing us to do this fun game, right, with the community. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. So again, do appreciate everybody tuning in, chiming in, all the questions, comments. Love it. Love the interaction there. But that is going to do it for us tonight. Make sure that you help support the channel. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button wherever you're consuming this at. And appreciate everybody tuning in, chiming in. But that's going to do it for us tonight. He's Kevin. I'm Derek. Have a good one. Be safe. Toodaloos.